Hi, I'm Wendy, and I hope that you enjoy my videos. Please like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more podcasts. And I have a book coming out soon, Confidently Human. It's all about confidence, how to heal your confidence, how to live your best life, and truly transform. I also have another children's book coming out soon, also related to confidence for little kids. It's a true story about my dog that used to model for my fashion shows and how she gained her confidence in believing in herself and walking the runway. Stay tuned. Remember to like and subscribe. Welcome to today's episode. Today, you are traveling with me, and I am driving to one of our shops. As some of you may know, I am a general manager for a barbershop chain, what which I love doing. It's been super fun. I really enjoy it. I get to coach lots and lots of people. Just in general, coach leadership, which is another one of my loves. But today I wanted to talk to you guys about, um, why it's so important to live your purpose, and um, how our limiting beliefs and how our energetic system um, all kind of work together. So, do you ever get those moments where you have that little voice inside of you and it says, hey, like, I feel like I'm supposed to be doing this? Or you've had a vision of what you're supposed to be doing, or like a little vision. Like for me, when I was really young, I used to get these visions, and I still do once in a while, of like standing in front of people and talking to them and helping them to feel good about themselves and help feel connected with themselves and all these different things. And so, one of the things I want to talk to you about is that little voice in our heads that are holding us back, that is creating fear, and to give you some tools of how to let that fear go. Because no matter what we're trying to do in our life, if it is one of those things where, you know, maybe it's advance our career, or maybe it's lose weight, or maybe it's, I want to run a marathon, or I want to enter a fitness competition, or I want to have the love of my life, or it doesn't really matter what it is. What matters is how we pursue those dreams, and not allowing our fears and our ego and our negative thoughts to hold us back. So you may be asking yourself, like, oh yeah, that sounds easy, and whatever, but that's easier said than done. Yeah, you're right. It is easier said than done. There is no uh it's no easy path to self-growth, um and to overcoming those fears, right? So fear is our form of protection. I know I've said this on a couple of my videos before, but it truly is. We learn it from the time we're a small child. Our parents incorporate it with us. We're like, oh my gosh, don't fall off that, and so it's a natural state of our parents wanting to protect us, and it's a natural state of ourselves wanting to protect our own self so that we don't get hurt physically, emotionally, whatever that is. But what happens is we create those pathways from the time we're a really small child to fear things, right? Even I grew up in uh going to church a lot. My parents were very, very involved in church, and um, very regimented. We went to church 3 times a week. Um, and it was very, very fear based, right? And so I lived a lot of my life growing up just being so fearful, like I couldn't do this or I couldn't do this. If I made a mistake, um, you know, uh, like I was taught to be fearful of everything. Like if I made a mistake, And it wasn't like my parents were bad people. My parents are amazing people. They would have done anything for us. They have helped me out and supported my dreams and sometimes been like, what are you doing? That sounds a little crazy. But somehow, probably around the age of 20, and I think it's from a lot of stuff I went through, getting bullied and just really building my own confidence and my own sense of self, where I just kind of started bucking all those rules, right? And I found energy work and I found healing and all these things. And I learned to not be so fearful of every little thing, because fear only holds you back. Fear is just that voice in your head and it's not even real. And we overinflate it in our minds so much. And we see it in kids. It's our natural protection. I mean, my son, even, it's like getting fearful over the smallest things. But really, what we have to do is take a deep breath and just breathe and look at those fears as they're just a thought. They don't have to rule our lives. They don't have to hold us back from living what our purpose is. They don't have to hold us back from furthering our career, speaking up in that family conversation. They don't have to hold us back. Sometimes it's a simple question of what's the worst that could happen, right? What is the worst that could happen if I spoke up in this meeting? What's the worst that could happen if I go to the gym and maybe I can't keep up with some of the other people? Nobody cares. Here's the thing. And when you start thinking in these terms, everybody else is having these same fears. And so when you think of it like that, they're more concerned about their own fears and what's going on around them and what's going on in their own heads than they are of you. And it's almost kind of comical when you think about it in those terms and you really have that light bulb moment of, oh my gosh, like you're worried about walking into this room and getting judged and all these different things. And so, like, maybe you want to raise your hand in class, or maybe it's in your profession and you feel really strongly about something, but you don't say anything because you're worried about the outcome and you're worried about what people are going to think. But what's the worst that could happen if you actually said that? It comes down to loved ones too. Half the problem with relationships are because people don't actually speak up in their relationship and they allow ego and fear to have them become passive aggressive instead of just saying, hey, I'm feeling really vulnerable and that was really hurtful and that was really just made me feel really disrespected when XYZ happened. Can you imagine the world we would be in if we all respected each other and if we all spoke up what our truth was? Imagine what a difference it would make. It's incredible when you think about these things on that level. Like, if we speak from our heart rather than our ego, if we live our life from our heart and our purpose rather than protection, if we made choices based on our truth rather than a dysregulated nervous system, how would that change your life? How would that change other people's lives around you? And how would that change how we interact with not only other people, but ourselves? What choices would you make differently when you chose to speak and take action from your heart rather than your ego, rather than from your fears, rather than from your anxiety? Aren't you tired of feeling anxious? Aren't you tired of feeling out of balance and out of alignment? Isn't it exhausting? And how would our bodies function differently? Like, how would our bodies respond differently if we weren't in a constant state of stress and anxiety and fear? What would happen to your body if you just let go and you let go of those things and you had a calmness and a confidence about yourself, how would that change in your career, in your wellness journey, in your weight loss? If we weren't constantly functioning out of a dysregulated nervous system and out of stress, fear, limiting thoughts, all of those things. So, the way to start healing this and the way to start changing the way our body responds and the way to start changing how we feel is work from the inside out. It's not just some hippie woo woo, whatever. It is literally shifting how we are energetically, trusting the process, and letting go of the outcome. So, letting go is huge. We all like to control our outcomes. Again, trying to control outcomes and trying to control uh, what we do is also putting in our body a state of dysregulation, right? Um, and so there's a lot of talk about manifestation. I 100% believe in manifestation. There has been several things in my life I have manifested. I have manifested my current career of where I'm working. I have manifested my partner. I have manifested all sorts of different things in my life. And most of them, well, not most of them. Some of them are by accident, but back when I was like really working on it, I didn't really like think of it like that. It was more, I mean, my partner was really, because I had this other guy that kept expressing interest in me and I had no interest in him. And I was kind of like, universe, God, whatever's out there. If you want me to have a partner, they need to be XYZ. They need to be, this and that. And 2 weeks later, this man walked into my business and guess what? He was almost identically of what I described. So, some things I manifested intentionally, right? Like my current career, like I wanted a career that I loved. I wanted, I already had a career that I loved, but like, but I wanted stability at that point in my life. I wanted a career that I felt stable, that I loved, that I could touch people's lives, that I could help them grow. And within probably like 6 or 8 months, like that's when I found myself in the current position I'm in, right? And I'm so grateful for that. I have learned so much from doing this business, and running these barbershops and uh, getting the opportunity to work with so many different personalities, so many different people. It's been just so amazing. And then my coaching business, like that is something I like literally 2 years ago started kind of building the framework for, and it was kind of just like a passing thought. I was like, oh, I kind of want to do this. Well, I've always wanted to do coaching. I've always done coaching throughout my career in one form or another. But 2 years ago, I was like, if I never try actually doing this as a business, like where would I be and what's holding me back? And I kind of went through that same process of why am I not doing this? Why have I never done this? This was one of my first business plans when I was like super young, is to have like a wellness coaching center. And so then I just started putting that energy out there and ideas kept coming to me. And that's the thing with manifestation. When you start putting um, the ideas out there, but then you stop releasing or you stop living in fear of what the outcome's going to be, or stop living in fear of limiting beliefs like, oh, I can't possibly do that, or I can't possibly do this, or I can't possibly learn this, that, or whatever it is. Or I don't have the time. That's another big limiting belief. Guess what? I have an extremely busy schedule. And like, I just look at it as like, I'm going to get everything done. I'm not going to stress about my time. I'm going to have quality time. I'm going to have quality time with each person I coach. I'm going to be the best I can be at my regular job. running the barbershops, all these kinds of things, right? I just put that energy out there that I am going to be able to get everything done, and I'm going to do the best job I possibly can. And along the way, I'm going to send out love and positivity and joy. And that's my intention that I set for myself, right? So my coaching business really started taking off though when I really started going through piecing out why I was holding myself back. What were the reasons that I hadn't ever started it? And a lot of them came down to of what are people going to think, right? Um, a lot of it was old family, like you can't sustain and support yourself running a business like that, right? Like you need to work for someone else. Um, those blocks, not from me personally, but like beliefs from, family members, whatever. Um, uh, Loyalty, of how am I going to fit it all in, loyalty to my family, loyalty of the place that I work out now, all these different blocks that I started coming up with. But guess what? When I started just letting go of that and just being like, you know what? This is what I want. I want a successful um, coaching business. It's one of my loves. Um, I want to help people lose weight. I want to help people with their wellness. I want to learn more about peptides was one of my things because they have so many healing properties. And when I started letting go of those blocks, guess what started happening? I found a amazing med group, and they were kind of fairly new starting out. And I actually was like, okay, I could actually email them and find out about them, but I don't know if they'd accept me as a partner because I'm not a med spa. I'm not like a gym, and that's typically what they were partnering with. And so I could have allowed my limiting belief to be like, oh, okay, well, I'm just going to not email them because that's what it says on their website, right? Um, but instead I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna send an email and see. Like, is that something I could do with my coaching business? And guess what? The next day I had a Zoom meeting with the owners. And explained kind of like, hey, I got this new coaching business. Like, this is something I'm really interested in. I've been researching them for a few years now. And they were like, dude, like, that's a really great fit. Like, that would be great. Like, that's what, I think you'd be a great fit. And so I started that and partnered with them. And I've learned so much. I've gotten certified in different peptides, and I have clients now that are using peptides for their own health and wellness and having amazing results, feeling so much better. And then alongside that, I'm working on mindset shifting and energetic healing and helping them with trauma blocks and all these different things. And it's been so incredibly amazing how things just keep coming to me. Um, and that is the part of manifestation when you let go of all these limiting things and you let go of that like pushback from yourself, like, oh, I can't possibly do that. Like, it's not, I can't, like, I can't go there. I'm just not confident enough or whatever it is. But guess what? The only way you're going to get more confident in things and the only way you're going to move forward and regulate your nervous system is by getting uncomfortable and then letting go of what's going to happen, because it's all going to be okay. If you're putting good things out there and you let go of the fears, you let yourself recognize fears and triggers and blocks, and you do some energetic healing on those to allow them to be released from your body, from your mind, from your soul. And then you let go of like, oh, what's going to be the outcome? Amazing things will start shifting. Amazing things. Just in the last few months, when I've really been zoned in on like catching every little block that comes to me or every little feeling that says, oh, I don't know that you can do that. I'm getting people messaging me. I am getting more people asking about my business. I am getting positive feedback from my clients. All these things are coming because I'm allowing myself to not be fearful in the decisions I'm making. So, and the best part for me is watching the people that I have been coaching, which at first I was like, whoa, can I do this? I don't like, I've coached confidence a lot. I've coached leadership a lot, like in my career, like those are big things that I've coached. And I'm really, really comfortable in. And I've coached off the side of being like for years about plant-based diets and different things like that, just from being self-taught. Um, and it's crazy, like how you can still come up with blocks. So even though I'm really confident in a lot of those areas, when I first started my coaching business and like coaching peptides and weight loss and all those kinds of things, it was like, whoa, like I need to be confident that. And I started it as I'm doing my own journey. One, because I feel like that's way less intimidating, right? I'm a real person doing the same thing, and I'm having to follow my own programs and my own coaching in order to have success. And that gives me results that I know that it's going to work for other people. If I can do it, you can do it. The next person can do it. And it's all about committing to getting uncomfortable with what our fears are, getting uncomfortable with what is causing our nervous system to be dysregulated, getting uncomfortable with going deep of where those initial thoughts and patterns came from. But the other side to that, of releasing those things, using energetic healing, regulating your nervous system, the other side is so incredibly beautiful and so incredibly empowering and so incredibly just blessed. I don't know any other way to say it. So I hope this resonates with you. If you're seeing this, I truly hope that it helps, even if it helps one person out there, to really look at who they are and whether they're living their purpose, and that there's so much fear out there that we don't, I mean, the media, everything is fearful, right? We don't need more fear in our lives. And so let's stop creating that fear within ourselves, and let's start living our purpose and living our truth and being confident in who we are as human beings, being confident in who you are as a human being, why you were put on this earth, what are you meant to do? Because that is how we change the world, and that is how we empower others, and that is how we empower ourselves. Okay. I'm sending you all love and peace and confidence and joy. I hope this helped. And please follow me. Please subscribe. If you know someone that you feel like this could help, please share it. I would be so grateful. Sending love, peace.
If you enjoyed this
Namaste.
video, hit subscribe, like, and share, and follow me on Skool, SKOOL, Confidently Human Coaching.